Yep.
Good, you.
All right, folks, we're going to start the meeting. We are on a severe time limit. Planning board meets at 6:30, so we're going to try and get everything done and hear from you folks before we make decisions here. Today is Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. I'd like to open this emergency meeting, John. A regularly scheduled meeting of the Allenstown, New Hampshire Board of Selectmen at 5 p.m. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I believe to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board members present this evening.
Kathleen Peltier, Diane Adinolfo, Laura Lambert.
Scott McDonald. Don Harrington. Also present in the room with us tonight. If we can start on that end. Go up. Speak as loud as you can, so hopefully our electronic equipment can pick you up.
He's to announce on my Thursday, maybe. Yeah.
Thank you.
Steve Mark. John Childs.
Lana Griffin.
Nick Thibodeau.
Alan Cody.
Paul Bradford, Robert Bradford, Sean Dumont,
Steve Hamill.
Jason Marsh,
Armin Virgil. Mark Solomanto.
Amy Lorenzo.
David Blake.
Louise Lukenda,
Chad Pellissier.
John Richard.
Debbie Richards,
Eric Rasmussen.
Debbie Ryder,
Mike Warren.
Diane Moore.
Brian Adolfo,
Keith Cross. Eric Lambert. Brian Arsenal.
There's 4 people online with us this evening. Hello?
Mo Pocket.
Everybody signed in?
Sean, yeah.
Thank you, everybody. John, can you please identify yourself?
Sean Ford.
Mergence. No. Folks online, can you please identify yourself? So we haven't seen this many people for a meeting. Well, I've been here 5 years. I've never seen half this many people. So thank you for coming. I know we've got a subject that's important to you folks. And we normally do citizens' comments first. Since we're tight on time, I'm sorry I have to hold you to 2 minutes this evening. And if someone's going to get up and say exactly what the person before them has said or someone previous has said, please don't do that. I'll stop you, okay? Because we're covering the same ground and we're tight on time. So we'll go to citizens' comments. I'm sure someone has a comment. Would someone like to start?
I'll start. Brian Adolfo, I passed this out to you, just want to let everybody know, this information was available to all citizens on the website. Yeah, there's a little center, I don't want to get in front of anybody. Was available on the website from the fire department as well, and I stood at the landfill for a whole day passing this out to citizens. It was done prior to vote.
No, I'm joking,
Oh,
sorry.
don't do that.
No, sorry.
Don't do that. Choking not allowed today.
Okay.
So this was out there. So just want to make everybody, this is not something that came up yesterday. It was out there weeks before the voting. The town.
I'm not sure what you folks made for, oh, go ahead, sir, I'm sorry. Could you please come up to the table?
Trying to. And state your name.
Name is David White. Just want to point out that these couple things there. This is please vote yes in article number 9 for trash pickup. We just want to point out that article number 9 was just not for trash pickup, it was for other items as well. In fact, it was a whole town budget. The Casella contract, what is the time? Is that like January to end of December? What is the period of time?
September.
September to end of August?
Yeah.
Okay, and if the contract is broken, how much is it cost?
Nothing.
There's no additional charge for breaking contract?
No, all town contracts are written with a clause in them that if it's not funded, the contract ends. Because they know that we work on a voted budget.
Okay, that was my question, thank you.
Anyone else? New people coming in, please you sign in, look here.
We'll get it over.
Okay. Folks, any other citizens comment? Is this after citizens comments? This is not an interactive meeting. This is the Board of Selectmen conducting business. And you're welcome to be here. There's no more. This is what citizen input is for, your citizen comments, so.
Yeah, I'd like to just
Right
reiterate,
down here, right down here, please.
Please state your name before speaking.
my name is John Childs. And I just want to reiterate that, again, it wasn't trash pickup that was singled out in the default budget. When people voted for the default budget, there's other options. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Are there any alternatives
Yeah.
to this, please?
Thank you, Nancy.
Are there any alternatives to this? I mean, is there, are there any alternative where this can be filled, we keep our trash the way it is?
Oh, you're blocking the camera.
There are, yes, okay, and those will be, we'll discuss them. Okay, yes, but there are. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else folks here to speak? Going once?
Well, sorry, my name's Sylvia Bartlett.
Could you come up here, Mrs. Bartlett,
Sure,
please?
so I'm kind of wondering if you get rid of trash, what are your alternatives you're looking at? Like, are the neighboring town that will accept our trash? Concord, somebody's gotta accept our trash, we have to put it somewhere.
We will be discussing those options for you to hear during the agenda item on trash.
Okay, good, okay, thanks.
How do we know the options are? If you guys had discussed, my forum, by the way. How do we?
We'll tell you what's.
Okay, so, I'd like to discuss taxes.
Not here, not at this meeting.
Okay,
You are welcome to bring that agenda item to our town administrator to ask him to
okay.
add it to a future
What meeting would that be?
future meeting. That
Okay,
would be next.
how do I know what meeting I can be?
So you have, John will let you know what night.
There's a whole schedule on the town website.
Oh, okay,
If you go under Board of Selectmen, you'll see the whole year.
I'll look, thank you.
And
Thank
we
you.
usually meet the other Monday. It's Monday nights at 6:30.
Oh, I know.
Meeting's a little long.
Okay,
And you have to have your questions within a certain amount of days before that meeting.
You can give me a call and I'll work with you.
okay. What was your name, John?
John, my business card's out front.
Okay,
As you go up.
thank you.
Any other citizens' comments? Anybody?
Yes, I do have one
Would you
more.
state your name once
Yes,
again?
it's Diane Warren. They're gonna give us the alternative option, which is great. Do we have a voice on that? Do we have can we vote on yes or no on those options, or what you guys say is what it is? So our opinion so matters.
They do. They do. Now, it's not. Okay. If we want to keep being elected into office.
on.
And this public comment time is a time for you to state what your opinion is, what you would like.
Ron Adolfo, just one quick, to bring to your attention. What we're talking about here is 32% of your tax bill that goes to fund all these services. Keep that in mind. 56% of that, the rest of it, funds school, as well as county and state education tax. So this amount that you're talking about is only about $8, 1,000 of your taxes. You just keep mindful of that. And I've said this at many meetings before, when you look at it. So you're supporting fire, EMS, police, town hall services, highway, which includes paving your roads, plowing your roads, summer, winter maintenance, and everything else these guys do, digging underground to put in your drainage, etc., which many towns don't do. So this is what you're dealing with. Just remember, keep that in the back of your mind. 32%. So if you have a $9,000 tax bill, $3,000 of that goes to support all your town services. You get an ambulance, you get a police department person, you get a fire person. You come here, you're able to talk to the town administrator, town hall. Think about what's around you in the other towns that are our size, beyond the Pembroke Allenstown area, how often they're open versus what we have. What are you getting for that 32%? And I will tell you, I've been here since I was a kid. We're getting a hell of a lot for our money. Thank you.
But trash.
Anyone else, folks? Diane?
Scott, before we get going, I did some number crunching, some percentage calculations. And I just want to put things in context here, I think before we go any further, if I may. So, in the town of Allenstown, there are 3,184 registered voters. In the general election for president in November of 2024, there were 2,662 people that voted. March elections to elect town officers and the budget and all of the other items, there were 472 people that came out to vote. 14.8% of the registered voters came out to vote. This is where your voice is heard, 14.8%. Of the number of registered voters, 270 voted for a default budget, okay? 8% of the registered voters in this town voted on a budget that 92% of the residents have to live with. That's where we are right now. I just want to put things in context because your voice was heard, could have been heard in March. If you voted, great. If you didn't, you gave up that responsibility to make an impact on what we're going to discuss tonight. Just want to bring that forward.
Go ahead, John.
Oh,
Would you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was a
We'll get you.
I think the voice was heard at the people that voted. They, by a strong margin, they went to the default budget. And so I think that's the voice of the people right there.
14% of them?
No, well, you can use those numbers, but the majority of the people that,
showed up, John.
the number of people that voted overwhelmingly said the default budget.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, can we stay on track? We don't need to debate
Right,
on who showed up for elections
yeah.
and stuff. Now, I appreciate the numbers, but
Okay.
not in.
I'm sorry. Someone had their hand up over here. Go ahead.
I don't know if we're looking at, but I appreciate it. Thank you. My name's Steve Hamill. The other guy,
Ron.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. I like you. What do you do for?
What I do for a living, I'm retired. I'm in Wisconsin with a kid.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So your biggest thing when you see budget 9, right, voted number 9, article 9. Us, we see $6 million, we say, no thanks. That's the biggest thing. Article number 9 never said anything, I apologize, never said anything about the trash pickup, anything. It said, I got 2 minutes. You said $6 million, take it or leave it. If we don't take it, here we go. If you have a breakdown of what does what in the town, then it will explain to us who the people are reading and understanding. A lot of these people are on fixed incomes, and your biggest part of the town is elderly people. Your biggest thing is you will see a $6 million budget. Our taxes have gone up every single year quite a bit. When we see $6 million, we say no thanks, we'll say no. So that's why everybody said no on the budget, and that's why we're in this spot right now. If you would do a breakdown, I don't know about you, I don't read everything. I didn't, you know what I mean, I went to school, but none of this politics, none of this stuff means nothing to me. If you would tell me $6 million goes to trash, or $30 goes to the school or fire truck, we got a fire truck, and nobody really knew about that one until it showed up. You know what I mean? If you have a meeting, the only reason why we had a meeting.
We did have meetings, sir. We had a deliberative session. We also had a public hearing where these questions could be asked and answered.
Yeah, the only time I find out is when somebody else says my name, they're like, hey, you see this?
It was on the town website, sir.
I understand.
We can't go knocking on doors.
A lot of us aren't gonna look at a website every single day to see what the meeting is about.
You have a recommendation here? We can't go,
I would say a sign outside, a town, a meeting.
which will be installed soon. We use the ARPA money to buy signs to get that messages out to the townsfolk.
I appreciate you going to the dump, freezing, doing your thing. What if I didn't go to the dump that day? I would have never known about this. You know what I mean? You're gonna have one guy to fight for this whole town.
Oh, he's not the only one who is.
I understand, but
It's an interactive process. Now, as I told you, and as Diane said, 14% of the voters showed up to tell us how they want to spend their money, 14% of them. So we have to run this town from this day forward. We have to run it on $667,000 less than we planned, and that's fine. That's what the voters said, and we're gonna do it. That's what the voters said. That's our job. We're gonna have to do that. Now, I'm not sure why trash was the top of the list. This involves all of our services.
because you got rid of recycling and we only had one trash barrel. You want us to
Remember
go
those taxes you were talking about?
now you want us to get rid of the trash and us to go to the dump it off.
No, you can't go there, that's gonna
We're
close.
closing the dump.
They're closing the dump.
I'm not in favor of closing the dumps.
Never mind.
Well, we're already still gonna have that
You're well into
discussion.
your 2 minutes. I'm sorry.
Appreciate it, thank you very much.
Yes.
Got one more thing to say. State your name. Yes, Mike Walker. When they send out tax bills, why don't they include something for the town meetings? That say this is the town meeting, so I myself don't go on the website to find out what town meetings are what. You can send the tax bills out very nicely. Why not add something in with the tax bills that said this is our agenda for the year?
It is.
So everybody-
The tax bills actually go out
I
pretty far in advance of.
I
the
understand
meetings.
that, but you
So like in
could, you could still
July.
say, just to give everybody a heads up, like he was saying, I don't spend all day on the website.
I
I just got out of work, so. I'm just saying, if you add something in with the tax bill, that says, yeah, it says town meetings, or, cause I myself, I work all day, I can't go on the website.
As I said.
Thank you for that input.
As I said, we've used part of the ARPA money to buy some digital signs to place around town. and they're gonna be hard to
What is
miss.
that, what are you saying? Oh,
Federal money that we got for COVID.
American rental. So we'll have signs around town that are easily visible.
oh,
So I also like to add that if you go on the town website, you can sign up for emails. And when anything is posted, you'll get an email saying there's no information there. That's a good way to get information to your phone or to your home email. It automatically kicks out. You'll see agendas. What else, John? You'll see meeting schedules, agendas. Anybody who has a meeting, you'll see it.
So that's another thing that nobody's ever missed.
Well, so I think people here are expecting, we reach out to you guys. You have an obligation as a member of the community to go and pull information as well. We can't always get information to every single person. Some people work, some people don't, some people are out of town. We can't provide that to everyone.
And in this day and age, most towns have websites, interactive websites to go to, so you can
What
find.
about US Postal?
What's that?
The mailing with stamps?
Sure, well, 75 cents a stamp. Just to write the check for sending out mailing on it.
I don't know, I mean, I don't.
Default budget and then ask, you know.
This, you can't do a free for all. All you folks know where the town hall is. There's all sorts of pamphlets and brochures and there, it tells you exactly what we do, what's available. You know where the town hall is, you're here tonight. We'll do the best we can to get the message out.
It is 5:22 and
Yeah,
we
we
still need to discuss this and.
Yep.
So, any other citizens' comments? Ma'am, signing please. I know we're tight here.
You wait at the table.
Well, I came in late, so I don't know if I'm repeating something that I've already missed.
Please announce your name.
My name is Vicky Caxby and I'm a resident on Webster Street. I've been a resident for over 30 years and I'm just wondering what is going to be happening with the trash? Are they gonna be eliminating that service?
We're gonna have some
We discuss.
stuff.
Okay, and that's what I came here for, so that's my biggest concern is because I've lived in this town for many, many years and that's definitely a service that we've come to rely upon. I'm beginning to think what the alternative would be if we didn't have that trash pickup. But I'll let you have your discussions, maybe I'll add some comments after. Thank you.
Ma'am, if you have anything else to say, you gotta say it now.
Well, that is.
This is not an interactive meeting with the public.
When we
Okay.
get to the regular.
Well, okay, well, there's kind of like added what I'm saying as far as the trash pickup. I would like for that to continue. I do not want that canceled. I don't know exactly what this meeting is about. I kind of caught a little bit about some people saying where we could get that information ahead of time, but I kind of caught drips and drabs on Facebook. And I just want to ensure that it's not getting canceled. So I don't know if you guys voting on this tonight,
Yes.
whether or not, okay, so you're voting on it tonight, whether or not it's going to be canceled. So after you give your information as far as cost and everything, what other types of resources we have if it does get canceled? If I'm not allowed to talk after this point.
Well, of course, I'm sure someone's gonna wanna speak to us after the meeting,
Okay,
but, one of the reliefs that's available to you is at the next election, if you don't like our decision, vote us out.
yeah, but that's a whole year.
That's how it works.
What about the petition? If we don't like your decision that's going on right now. So if we're not happy with the decision that you guys make tonight. I believe I get like 50 resident signers, is that what you need to reverse it if you make that decision?
If you do a petition, it becomes a warrant article that needs to be voted on.
So either way. If we don't have any say as to whether or not.
Well, hopefully you do. By being here tonight and showing us attendance, hopefully all of these board members will have listened to your input and realize that you don't want to lose that service.
So I'm not the only one that's here.
That's why we're all.
Sorry, I didn't get out of work till after coming, so.
Just to clarify, this amount of attendance is huge for
Okay.
this. Our agenda right now is public comments where people can express their viewpoint.
once we go into the regular agenda, the board will be having a discussion amongst themselves about 3 different topics. One thing will be the trash collection.
Okay,
At that time, that'll be discussion among the 5.
okay,
And
and,
possible decision.
okay, so nothing else I can say or that's gonna like sway your.
And you elected us to make these decisions. Right. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna always like.
I voted, I just like it out.
Okay.
I got something to say. Brian Godden, so we do want the trash pickup, and that's why I'm here, I hear it through the grapevine. I've been calling all night to residents to come here, they work. 5 o'clock is not a good time to have meetings.
We've had previous meetings.
Well, okay, whatever, it just seems like you're against us, it's like, are you gonna help us? Cause everyone who's talking to you, it just seems like you just got a sharp answer to say, hey, you don't like it, don't vote me out. That's what you said,
It is what I said, and it's true.
okay,
If you don't like
I'm
the
just meeting
decisions,
you,
made.
just hear
But
me
we
out.
haven't made a decision yet.
Oh, I thought you already did.
No.
So it doesn't matter.
Sounds like you did.
Bottom line, you guys are you guys all residents of Allenstown?
Of course they are.
So do you want the garbage? Pick up.
We haven't discussed
Okay,
that.
everybody wants it. So figure out a way, if it costs us more money, it's not gonna, it's pennies compared to our taxes
The
that went
voters
up.
told us how much money we have.
Okay,
to
we
spend.
understand that.
That's all we get.
The problem is that when we vote, we're trying to read like it's written in Chinese because it doesn't make much sense. So the default and all that garbage, Article 918, I'm not
It's
reading all that.
explained in the warrants.
Okay, so whatever.
Whoa. One person,
I voted to raise taxes. Okay, because I didn't want, our town needs money to progress. Right?
here, I'm not against you.
Good,
Let me tell you. And
No, good.
I think we can all agree that property owners in this state shoulder far more than their fair share of the tax burden in this state. And that's not the town, that's Concord, okay? We do the best we can with the money you give us to
Alright.
spend, and that's all we spend. Okay?
so bottom line, we just want garbage pickup, bottom line. And if
We
it
haven't decided yet.
costs more,
And we
But I
only,
appreciate
we only
your-
have, we've just done 30 minutes on public comments, we're not gonna have any time to discuss. For a shortcut, I would propose that we just ask for a show of hands, everybody who would like to keep garbage pickup, if that's why they're here.
Yeah.
That about
not
covers
for
it.
animals. I mean, Doug is fine in Concord.
Stress how important it is though throughout the year to go to meetings, then you have a deliberative session, you have budget hearing committees that everybody can attend and it is public. And I just really feel like that's something that we lack is the attendance in meetings. I started going to meetings a couple of years ago and every time I would think, people need to show up or I see it on Facebook. I never saw anybody here. I don't, maybe.
I think it's the
you see
timing.
In some of these meetings, but most of you.
5 o'clock.
I haven't
6:30.
seen your
They meet at
faces here.
6:30.
All right, hold on.
6 o'clock.
I'm not going there, we can't do this, we don't have the time. As I said before, we had a deliberative session in January on a Saturday morning at AES. And we had a public hearing session out at our new community school in February on a Saturday morning. Where people could come out and interact with the department heads and the selectmen, and we were there to answer any and all questions.
And leading
I
up to
wasn't
that,
aware of this.
every select
I'm
board
sorry.
meeting is
Well, it's not
open
my-
to public unless it's otherwise noted. And you are at any time invited to talk to the town administrator, to the highway department head, the fire department chief, police department. You're welcome to come in to any of the meetings that are held by boards and committees and come and talk to the employees of it. That is.
I just don't know when it is.
I'm not against you, I pay taxes too, and I'm on a fixed income.
Okay, so let's
for me,
work it out.
just as much as it. We work it out with the money that folks give us.
But can we re-vote?
No.
Okay, can we just say, okay, can we? If it's like $300 more per household, for garbage pickup, I think everybody can
If you,
scratch that up.
if we go into our meeting and start discussing options.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to cut off the public comment. I think we all know
Well,
why.
wait, let me say something, if we take away garbage pickup, there's enough trash flying around. People are just gonna throw their shit out, sorry, and they don't care. There's a lot of people that don't care and they just litter. I stay at
I
my
agree.
house and take 30 minutes, I'm picking up trash.
Okay, all right, sir, I'm sorry, we have to, we all know.
It should be a junkyard,
All righty, I've got two letters here.
Franklin River.
I've got two letters here from two concerned citizens. They're identical letters, but I will mention their names and read one of the letters because they are identical. They're from Sean Ford on Gilbert Road and Mulder Plume on Gilbert Road. Good afternoon, Mr. Harrington. I'm writing to express my concern regarding the potential decision to discontinue garbage pickup services and close the transfer station due to rising costs. While I understand the financial pressures the town may be facing, I urge you to reconsider this course of action in light of the significant burden it would place on residents. Garbage pickup and access to a local transfer station are essential services that ensure the health, safety, and cleanliness of our community. Eliminating these services or shifting the full cost to residents will disproportionately affect families, seniors, and those on fixed incomes who may struggle to afford alternative solutions, such as private waste removal. For many, the increased costs could lead to financial hardship or force them to resort to unsafe or illegal disposal methods, or potentially utilizing Bearbrook State Park, an alternative location, to dispose of items rather than incur additional costs to themselves, ultimately harming our environment and community standard. I respectfully request that the town explore alternative options to maintain these vital services without passing the entirety of the cost onto the residents. I appreciate the difficult decisions you face in managing the town's funding and resources. However, I believe that maintaining garbage pickup and the transfer station, an investment in the well-being of our community that outweighs the short-term savings of cutting these services. I hope we will prioritize the needs of the residents in your final decision. Thank you for your time and consideration. All right, so let's go on to our regular agenda, which is the acquisition of the elementary school, Allen's Point Elementary School, with me for $1. Any questions?
Motion. Motion to that we accept the town of Allenstown purchase the Allenstown Elementary School for $1 from the Allenstown.
Yeah. Did we already do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, did, but this is the final status quo in the process.
We haven't had any.
There was no petitions received.
Confuse them with these. You're gonna vote it on it.
So I made a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Any discussion first? Because we only did. Just so you folks understand, there's a process that we've had to go through for the purchase and sales agreement of the Allenstown Elementary School. And part of that was having a couple of public hearings, allowing people the opportunity to present a petition that would maybe go against what we're doing. So now we've gone through that process and we're now entering into the actual process of doing the purchase and sales agreement with the school. If we want to do so.
All in favor?
Tricia.
Kathleen, I.
Diana. Laura.
Scott. And the next item is our default budget. On your time, we'll look at the budget, look at every single individual line.
Specifically to the trash collection. Just the same as I spoke at the last meeting. I'm in favor of option 4. I do not think that we should get rid of trash services entirely. I think this room shows that many of the residents feel the same way. I think it's important that we have a place that people can bring their trash to. And I agree with Ryan, I think that place isn't here in town, and if it puts an undue burden on the residents, we're gonna see trash pile up. I believe that's gonna affect the police department's ability to do their job. It's gonna affect the fire department's ability if they go into homes or yards that are cluttered and full of stuff. I think that maintaining some type of trash service is very important. It also feeds into future years' budgets. Option 4 is a pay-as-you-go. So what we would do is sell bags at, say, Town of Allenstown. You'd be in control of how much you dispose. Also encourages recycling. Towns that have adopted this have seen, I want to say, a 40% decrease in their overall trash numbers. People opt to recycle instead so that they're not filling those bags. I just think there's a lot of benefits there. With that, we could set up a capital reserve fund that would help our trash disposal become self-sustaining in the future. So it looks towards future years, not just the here and now, helping us build the type of community that we want to live in, which is what I'm interested in doing. I don't want to live in a community with no trash.
Trash pickup? Okay.
No trash period.
There, option 1 is no trash at all.
Mike, I know you just came in, but we have citizen comments, thanks.
I can offer up my opinion. So option number 1 would be to discontinue trash pickup done by the town or under the town, because currently it's selling. I think by removing that, that saves, that takes money from non-emergency services. If we don't do this, if we don't cut trash pickup, we're going to have to cut from other emergency services. I'd rather have emergency services available than trash pickup. And it's not we'll have no trash pickup. There are a lot of independent haulers that we can call. There are many people, Epsom doesn't do trash pickup. Deerfield, Raymond, Candia, these people are able to go to the dump. Under option number 1, the dump would not accept trash at all. You could call a private hauler. I've looked into some private haulers and the price is really not that bad. And if you're a household that throws out 2 or 3 bags a week, that's what you pay for. You don't pay, then you pay a different price if you're a, a heavier trash household, like 15 bags a week. Right now, under the taxes, everybody's paying to have everybody else's trash removed. If I throw out 2 bags, like if you're like elderly people who are living, just 2 people, they probably throw away 2 or 3 bags. Somebody who's got 5 or 6 kids, they're throwing away 15 bags. Guess what? The people struggling are paying for other people's trash. This would follow the same model as like our sewage bills. You pay for what you use. That's what this would do. It would get it off the tax rolls and not have potential to impact our taxes like they are now. Because we have to look where we're going to find $651,000.
Will taxes are gonna go down?
No.
We're trying to meet the numbers that you folks have given.
That's right. The other thing that this would do is right now, the highway department has to absorb that. By taking that out of the highway department's responsibilities, they can work on infrastructure. They can do what they were hired to do. And that's, work on the infrastructure, plow the streets and such. Because if we rely on the current crew that we have to also pick up trash, in addition to what they're doing, they weren't hired to pick up trash. They may do it for a little while, but they may get tired of doing it, say, I'm gonna go find another job. Then we're gonna lose people. And buying the trash bags, sure, that's another pay as you go. That could potentially be more expensive than hiring somebody to come and pick up the trash at you. They do it, Epsom, they do it, Raymond, they do it, Candia, they do it, all the towns. Some towns have never had trash. So that's my take. I'm certainly in favor of option number 1 because I think it gets us closer to the money we've been given to spend. And it takes the burden off of our highway department and takes the burden out of the tax rolls.
I think
That's my
it's
take.
the easy cut for us. I think the only person that benefits from option 1 is this board, because we make up, what was it, the 352,000 that we're trying to account for in retirement and insurance costs without having to really even go through the budget. We just take a major service that we know the whole town depends on and wants. We cut it, we don't have to go through the budget, and every taxpayer in town feels a huge impact. I feel like it's punitive, and I don't think that we should be doing that. I think that option number 4 will alleviate some of that cost, but then we'll still have the responsibility to look through, and other departments should have cuts. I don't think just one area should be one. The voters have been very kind in the past, and I think economic circumstances were different, and people heard the arguments for expanding the fire department, and they said, okay, I'll vote for that. They heard the arguments of the school, and they said, okay, I'll vote for that. And then they're getting their tax bills down, and much like somebody who's gone wild with a credit card, they're holding their head at their kitchen table going, what have I done? I can't afford this anymore. They decided to vote default not to punish us, not because they think that we were asking for money we didn't need, it's because they can't afford it. They need us to reduce costs in town. But I think taking away trash entirely is the wrong choice. There's other ways we can do that.
I also favor of option 4. I myself and Mrs. Pelletier have asked that every department come back with how they can meet the default budget for their department. So that the burden is spread across all the departments. And this service can still continue.
So my 2 cents, I'm kind of in the middle. When we lived in Epsom, we did not have a trash pickup and we called a private service. And we purchased what we needed. I know that we've had trash in this town for a very long time. It can be done without it. I'm torn because I just, we do need to make this work. The people voted the default budget to not have their taxes raised. So we have to figure out how to do it. I agree with all of it. I'm just torn.
But I can tell you on Tuesday morning after our last meeting, I poured over the budget and made a spreadsheet. I have a list of things that are possible cuts, things that were in the budget, like the finance director's salary that we don't have to fill. There's $91,000 right there. Our minutes transcription, we could find another way to massage that. Some of these are small numbers, but that's how you get to the big number. Looking at my spreadsheet, my calculations here with the things that I'm recommending that the board would need to discuss, and maybe we wouldn't cut all of them, it gets us down within 15,000. My understanding, we don't even know what's in our unassigned fund balance, and we may have more money, so we may not have to cut the whole 650. We could do this and keep option 4 and still have trash pickup in town. At the end of the day, our job is to represent the people of this town and to build a community we want to live in.
I agree with you 100%, but I also look at the number of people that actually came out to vote, and that concerns me a lot. That's the reason that I put my name in a hat to run for selectmen. I want all of you guys to be involved. I want you all to come to meetings. I want you all to have a voice. I don't see most of you there. If you had come to the meetings on a website that most towns have, you could have had a voice. We're not had a voice already.
It's supposed to be punishing.
You know, I definitely, I want to punish you.
That's it, yeah, but I keep hearing people complain, not enough people come to the meetings, they don't come to the meetings. People are busy, they have a life, I understand not knowing what it's like when you look at a warrant article and feeling like it's another language. When I first started this job, and many of us in this room, if you can think back when you first started getting involved in municipal government, how long it took you to learn the ins and outs of how things operate. I don't expect my neighbor to understand these processes. I don't expect them to understand the difference between the default budget and the regular budget. I know it's frustrating for us that do, but for the average voter, I understand why they would see a $6 million budget and a $5 million and say, oh, 5 is better than 6, and not realize that all these services are gonna be cut. But they were not saying that they wanna lose one entire service. They elected us to do the hard work of making that cut, and it's possible to do it spread out over multiple things in a way that doesn't impact them this way.
I would like to add that
100%.
did vote for a default budget. Those voters that came out, that's what they voted for. The representation tonight is of the town folks that don't want their trash services taken away. I too have gone through and looked at the budget as best as I could, and I have found things like the trustee of trust funds, only 4% of the line was used last year. Executive mileage, only 11% was used last year. 50%, 51% of the executive computer line was used. 40% of the IT line, 33% of the budget committee expenses. These are low percentages. So we could easily comb through this town-wide budget and make it work all around.
Do we know that? We
Yeah,
have to nickel and dime ourselves for $651,000.
I looked through this
I have as well.
and.
And there's stuff that's discretionary and there's stuff that's non-discretionary.
Well, let's start with our stipends. We could cut that, Board of Selectmen stipends, there's 10,000. We could cut more stipends, further stipends, we'll get up to about 20,000. Cell phones, there's certain trainings that maybe are needed, maybe aren't, but we should take a look at it. Maybe start having trainings that are gonna be out of state that incur hotel stays and flights. Maybe those need to be run by us before people just sign up and start taking those. Unnecessary uniforms. I know the highway guys get a stipend for clothing that's related to doing their job that half years they're not even spending because they don't need it. So there are things in here that we can cut. The welfare assistance was much higher. Let's see, what was that?
Yeah.
We had it at 25,000, we only used 12,000, I think. Yeah, so there's, if we go through, yeah, it's gonna be 10,000 here, 20,000 there. But we can make these cuts.
We can get to 651,000.
I got us on my spreadsheet here, I got us down to within $15,000. And that was just spitball. That was just me Tuesday morning, 2 hours of just without diving in deep. It is definitely possible, but
And when the town is presented with a default budget, it is the department responsibility to meet that default budget, not just one service, all services. Because the reality is, folks, municipal government is here to serve you, so everything you do is a serve. So whether it be trash pickup or town clerk, all of it is services, so all of it needs to be looked at in order for us to make a well-informed decision.
I'm not willing to give up emergency services in any way. So that if somebody is sick, having a stroke, a heart attack, the ambulance can't get there because there's no crew that night. Or the police, we, have to cut police hours to get trash picked up. Trash is not more important than the safety of our people. It's just not.
I think trash is correlated to the safety of our people.
It's dirty.
The houses that are overrun with garbage and the emergency personnel try to get in there, respond to trash, it stuff creates a, yeah, health hazard there.
Well, I would hope people have enough pride in their property. How they try.
Not everybody does.
Maybe none of you have lived in poverty, but I have been a single mom, I love that. If you are living by yourself and you don't have a husband, you don't have someone with a job, you don't have any money because you're working 2 jobs, supplementing yourself with welfare, to all of a sudden find out you've got to call a contract, $200, $300 a month to have your trash picked up, guess what, it's gonna pile in the garage, it's gonna pile in the backyard. And it's not because you don't have pride or ownership in where you're living, it's because you can't afford it, you just can't do it, you're doing all you can to keep your head above water. So much is hitting our residents right now, federal, state, grants, people that are relying on other programs maybe for financial assistance that are getting completely cut. Everyone's seeing food go up, their heat bills go up, they're getting hit with all kinds of added expenses. There are massive layoffs right now. And what we're talking about doing to them is just pouring salt in the wound. And we don't have to do it. There's no need for it. We don't have to do it.
This is the first time I've heard this number from you, Kath,
What are you talking
that
about?
we can get within, how close did you say?
15,000.
I saw nothing close to that.
Yeah.
We are now in the second day of the second quarter of this fiscal year. We've already spent a quarter of the money that we really haven't decided on.
Well,
So,
this
from
is
that's why I
just
said from
estimate
this
cost
day
in 2
forward,
hours.
that's how we gotta make that money work. And it's not punitive. Please stop using that word. Nothing is punitive. It's reality. And we gotta make it work.
It feels punitive to me.
Me too.
Me too.
Dave, you told the boys.
It's like you're gonna become a shit bag if it
You're pretty
does
rude.
stop.
Thank you, brother.
Crappy.
You folks had a chance to vote.
We're gonna vote
We
you out
didn't
next
vote.
time. I'm gonna make it my personal mission. You're very rude to these people.
How was that rude?
Everything you say is rude.
Your tone of voice.
Your tone of voice is terrible. You're telling people shush. That's very rude.
We did vote.
We pay your salary. If somebody wants to react to something they're saying that we agree with, I'm gonna say it. This is a public hearing,
He's not.
not a private hearing.
It's not a public.
I can't speak unless they say something. I can say something to it. I can't think ahead what they're gonna say.
Yes,
I'm
but
sorry,
that's
you
comments.
I can't. How can I make a comment on something she hasn't said yet?
That's the rule.
Are you shitting me?
No, that's.
I can't
Well, you are.
comment on Kathleen
You
while
are.
I'm up here before the meeting.
You know, technically, you're not supposed to be talking right now.
What? I'm sorry, when you say something that I like, I'm gonna say something. When he's being rude to every person in the room, I'm gonna say something.
He's not trying to.
Whether you're trying to or not, he said the same thing, your tone of voice. You're shushing people, you got bright red a couple seconds ago. I thought you were gonna have a heart
I
attack.
asked for public comments and asked and asked.
That's
Okay, but I got a comment on something that I'm hearing
Now,
now,
not-
not before.
This isn't an open forum.
We're done.
I'm done.
Okay.
You guys are making a good case when the voting comes back around. You realize that?
Fine. Go vote and be heard. That's what it's for.
Okay?
So it's send it to the people, so just leave it at that, you know where we stand.
Oh, okay.
Those two are staying, these three.
If these numbers Kathleen mentioned, I hadn't heard these before.
Yeah, I.
Well,
This is
I-
why
but
we
Jay
did
asked-
ask for the department to.
At our last meeting, I asked for every department to send their plan to address their default budget. We received a plan from highway, we received a plan from fire, we haven't received anything from police yet.
Yeah, it is. It was
So-
a letter in the package today that we received.
Oh, good, I'm glad to hear.
But that doesn't include,
I was
all the other
proactive
departments.
before even hearing that though, the first thing I did was go home and look over this budget, created this spreadsheet and thought, how hard is it gonna be? And I looked at all the options presented to us for the trash. Option 4 was still estimated to have a savings of 180,000. So it would still provide trash pickup, but save 180,000 right there at that time.
with possible revenue growth in the future because of the sales of the bags and they could offset the cost.
It would still cost the taxpayers a little more because they'd have to pay for their gas, but they would have that service available. We have a transfer station in town. They could bring their TVs, they could bring their trash. They don't have to let it pile up. And option 4, we could have the convenience of curbside pickup and combined with these other cuts that I would propose, we should be able to do it. There was
Well, I think with,
minutes transcription.
but on
finance
top of that, I think even with the option 4, you still have the fire department that cut 130. What did
Yeah, they
she-
said they were gonna go to the for their revolving fund.
Last, or you were using 130, not good.
So, it was cutting 130 is supplementing the budget to ease the burden by using the fund that was established by the voters for ambulance revenue that comes in to offset our budget to save some money in the budget. Eric Lambert, sorry, fire chief.
But Eric had, the fire department had a revolving fund set up for that. This option 4 could allow the highway department to do a similar thing and have a revolving fund that collects the revenue and would continue to support
the services that they.
The trash collection, so if they needed a new loader, if they needed new equipment, they'd be able to purchase that without it being a hit to the taxpayers down the road. So to me, it's just a no-brainer, it's a win, all, it allows us to maintain this service for the people in town. It is gonna change the cost structure, people are still gonna feel the pinch of having to buy those bags, but they're in control. They don't have to contract with an outside company, they're not looking at $600 a month, they still have the transfer station to go to if they choose to dispose of mattresses and TVs.
$600 a month.
$600 a year.
Thank you.
Pay that. That's cheap,
What's that?
600 a year. for
600 a year is a local backup.
It's an extra $50 a month.
So if we did Casellas
That's
and
a
we did
bill.
them, it'd be
A lot
less.
more.
No, a lot.
$50 a month is a lot.
Everybody did it?
So I have a brochure here from Furmore, $49 a month.
40 is about a year. They're local, those are the guys that I'm talking about. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, and
But they're not gonna be able to take on the whole town, everybody's not gonna do that.
I don't know. And I don't know what their limit is for, a lot of those companies limit you to X number of bags or X number of barrels for the price that they provide or promote.
I have, with that, earmarked unlimited bag, $49 a month. $10, 50% off, if you're 55 or over.
See it,
Whoa.
okay, no, right. Comments cut off.
No different than the other people talking about.
Ron,
I know, but you don't have to be like that.
Ron. Any other comments here? I'm interested to see, I haven't seen Kathleen's numbers.
Yeah.
We have interest on Tan's line that is currently at 15,000. Right now, because of our health. And we could cut that down to 5 just to be on the safe side, knowing we're not gonna spend the 5, but there's another 10,000 right there. Let's see, economic development, they have a $6,000 budget, if we cut them down to 3. We have electricity at volunteers, the numbers I was looking at, I'm not sure if the bills were in for the entire year, but that line was underspent by $11,666. We're up to 30,000 already. Then general supplies, I have that line under, we have it budgeted at 3,000, it was under by 2,500. Then various stipends that are going out, we could look at combining positions. Maybe rearranging how those are performed and how they're paid and compensated. Let's see. Again, the uniforms, the cell phones, the travel, there's a lot of expenses that are things that I think are negotiable that we don't necessarily need. Those add right up, there's like another $40,000 right in there. And then again, start with the top. They voted a default budget, let's get rid of our own salaries. What are we making, $150 a month? I don't think any of us are doing this for money.
If we get rid of stipends, I think we get rid of stipends across the board.
I agree.
We're not just gonna take it,
Yeah.
everybody takes a hit, everybody takes a hit.
And if we do that, if we get rid of stipends across the board, then we save ourselves, looks like about 20,000.
We just have to make sure people are gonna do the work. You know, and they're not going to pay.
But a lot of
That
people
could
change,
change
people
things.
run for planning, they want to, well, they committee, or people that serve on boards and committees don't do it for the money.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agree. I saw much of what Kathleen was talking about, I think she touched on everything that I saw going, just kind of skimming through, I made a dirty list of these different items, I didn't put any totals. But I think it behooves us to really look at the town as a whole and not just go automatically to what is the easy out and just cut everybody's trash service. I think that we can look at it, and I hear your concern, I'm not for reducing emergency services either, but we need to look at it. We wouldn't be serving these people well if we did not. Well, it's not that we're not serving people well. People said, here's the budget you're working with, and we looked at, okay, what can we do without, what are the other alternatives then? You know, contracting to get your trash pickup is an alternative. It is. But we didn't fully look at what we can do. We haven't looked at every department. And yes, this is what they voted for us to do. That's not the whole picture. The whole picture is answering, not just did they say we're going to default budget,
but what areas would they like us to protect for them? And do our best to do that. If in the end we determine after going through everything that we still need to really focus on the trash, then so be it. We've done our due diligence to make that determination. I do not think we've done that.
I hope you guys are right,
I think she is.
because it's gonna be pretty messy if it's not.
It's gonna be messy. We don't have trash pickup.
Well, because people behave the way they do,
I'm not.
which is, you know, which is ridiculous. Like, oh, if nobody picks up my trash, I'm just gonna put it down the street. You know how
Exactly.
ridiculous that is, come on,
You don't think?
grow up.
I'm not saying I do that, but people do that.
Yeah, they do.
And your trash is my trash, so your trash is blowing in here and I'm paying for it, but they're not.
Please,
That's right.
please,
It was like Jersey City.
please.
Show.
I'm interested in seeing these numbers. I haven't seen these before. I didn't see anywhere near what we needed to do at this point in our fiscal year. And Diane's right. If this isn't done soon, it's gonna be a mess. I'm gonna be in a deficit.
Did you ask?
And we'll be cutting important stuff.
Did any of you look at the budget to look for cuts?
Pardon me?
Did you
Did
guys
you go
look at the
through
budget
the
to look
budget
for
line
cuts to
by
try
line
to cut?
and-
Did you find anything other than trash? Did you research any other options?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I went through every single line. I believe I mentioned that, Kathy. All right.
So what did you see that you would cut?
I didn't see 600, I didn't even see close to what we have, the money we have to run our town.
So you're not doing it.
Well, I'll email it to you right now.
I was.
Would you say second,
It's
second month, the second quarter, second day, whatever, of the fiscal year?
It's April 2nd, it's the second day of the second fiscal quarter.
You did that in 2 hours on a Tuesday. You've been here for how
But it's
long?
very preliminary, and that's not my point that I'm trying to make.
You know how much time I put into it, sir? Do you? You don't, but you made that remark anyway.
Well, how did she find it?
She's looking at the same thing I am. She may be evaluating different than me and some of the other folks here.
Swap it?
And it's not punitive. God, stop using them.
I didn't say
We're
that.
just trying to make this work.
Never said that.
Dear God. I'm safe.
Louise, you knew when citizens' comments were.
They're
Why
all
didn't you speak then?
talking.
You have to talk when they say something. I can't look forward
I know,
when I make
no,
my
I'm not
comments to
saying that
anticipate
against
what
you.
she's gonna say.
Sir, when
I'm
that
not-
happens,
I'm
it
not
turns into
psychic.
anarchy real quick, and we can't do that. Then it
I
has
understand that,
church.
and I apologize, but I'm not psychic. So I didn't know what she was gonna say when I made my comment.
I just wanna say one
It's
thing.
like we asked and we appreciate it.
I just wanted to say
This is
one
the
thing.
selectmen doing their work, okay?
One selectman.
Oh,
They
come
won't-
on.
That's your opinion.
Come on. We've all been looking at this for a long time, and we've had
You
more
do
meetings.
it because you agree with her.
Yeah.
Is she Elon Musk? I mean, she's finding stuff that you guys can't find.
Can I say something?
Where's
I mean,
Elon?
really,
We need Elon Musk.
Stop, please.
So, yeah.
We're not gonna get it. All right.
Yeah, he's
We're not
not-
gonna answer this, can you send him on?
Joe just
I moved to table this discussion. I need to see Kathleen's numbers.
Okay,
to see
thank
if
you.
they're valid.
I second that.
Right, all in favor?
Trish, aye.
Kathleen, I.
Diana, Laura,
You start out. Right, thank you, folks.
what's this Monday's meeting, line by line?
We do move forward with this.
We
We
have
did
a
not
really
wait.
tight meeting on Monday. We'll figure something out very soon and we'll put it out on our website.
Hours.
I
Thank
can,
you.
can I say something?
Louise, can I say something first? I just wanna thank you all for coming, honestly, thank you for coming.
Thank you, I
I
appreciate it as well.
appreciate coming out.
We do.
And
It
your
means
voice-
a lot to us to hear what you are thinking, what you need.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when you can
It
say
helps us to make these decisions. Sometimes we struggle to make
Should be a
decisions
limit.
because we're not sure.
I know, I lived here my whole life.
Why don't you take
Emails
a
at
look?
any time to the board members as well, we did get a few prior to this meeting, I keep that in the
all you want.
let them know how you feel about
I'm
it.
gonna wait and listen to what she has to say.
No, I'm done with this. I'm done with everything.
Website's
One person, everyone's been able to talk but me. That's baloney. I've lived here my whole life. I'm done.
That's the go-to.
Does the website have all the different options, like you're talking about 1, 2, 3? Did you post these with last week's meeting materials? And you put it up there? Our town administrator can handle it, so you can see option 1, 2, and those were proposed.
And I do know that both the default and the proposed budget are still there, and like you, there's many places to cut. We did not vote on one service going out. We voted on the default budget, but that just means that you got to those numbers and you need to make those numbers work. It doesn't mean one service goes away.
Oh, we still got. Actually, we
How do you get emails? How do you sign up to get emails back?
Right on the town website, there's a link, I think it's in the top left-hand corner. And it says for newsletters or email blast, something like that, you'll click on that, you'll put in your email address. Then it will give you subcategories, so if you don't care what the planning board is doing, you don't have to put that box, but you can put like BOS minutes, BOS agendas, things that you wanna know about. Cause you can get spam very quickly if you just scratch it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, we still have some business to discuss. I'm not sure about, the task by this. Sorry, I'm not sure.
The only thing I will say is I'll ask John, we monitor that and inform us what would work well for the town downtown. We don't want to be hit hard and unexpectedly with those on.
I'll let you know when I find out.
Thank you, and I'll.
Yeah. let me know. So there's three things I'd like to cover before we adjourn, is in the minutes, the AP batch 109 and there's one document.
I move that we accept the minute from the public meeting of March 24th, 25.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Trish, I.
Kathleen, I.
Diana, Laura.
Scott.
Did I miss one of them?
Yeah, that was just an element.
No, maybe
Get a challenge.
Wasn't pretty good. Yeah.
Did everybody sign in? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Come to our meetings. Don't be afraid.
All right, I just wanna make
Monday.
it public that the March 24th minutes are not been published for us to review, so we are not going.
the second part to withdraw that motion. For the minutes.
You want to-
Oh. Yes.
All in favor?
Kathleen, I.
Is that
Sorry.
Okay, so I'll put it on the minutes for Monday's meeting.
I motion that we ratify the consent calendar for April 2nd, 2025. Second,
All in favor?
Tricia,
Kathleen, I.
Diana, Laura, I. I make a motion that we accept the 2025 check manifest batch number 109. Second,
All in favor?
Tricia,
Kathleen, I.
Diana, Laura, I.
Scott. That's it. Okay, so I've got one delegation sponsored authority. This is to allow our interim treasurer to delegate sponsored authority to our tax collector, our deputy town tax collector, and finance clerk. One there. Sponsorship, weekly basis, daily, never received so. I would, we pass this.
Second that motion.
Okay.
Tricia,
Kathleen, I.
Diana, Laura.
The business people. Okay. That, we adjourn our meeting at 6:10 P.M.
Second that motion.
Kathleen and I.
Right, and I, Laura,
Thanks.